sound of 1,000 voices waking up. Another headline, another disguise, another promise fading from our eyes. Are selling comfort while they raise the walls, counting every voice before it falls. We learn to whisper, learn to hide, carry every burden deep inside. But every silence has a breaking point. Every scattered soul can still unite. You can bend the truth, you can buy the stage, you can write our names across your page. But there's one thing you'll never own: the fire growing in our bones. They'll hear us now, we're rising from the ground. No chains can hold a heart that's beating loud. Hands held high, we're standing proud. They'll hear us now, we'll face the storm, we'll never back away. Hope is stronger than the fear they make. One voice starts 1,000 wake. They'll hear us now. Every neighbor, every different face, every story deserves its place. Not divided by the lines they draw, we're stronger than they ever saw. When they tell us we're too small to fight, that's exactly when we find the light. Brick by brick the future's laid, not by fear but what we're brave enough to say. You can lock the doors, dim every light, truth keeps burning through the night. You can slow the tide somehow, but you can't stop it now. They'll hear us now, we're rising from the ground. No chains can hold a heart that's beating loud. Hands held high, we're standing proud. They'll hear us now, we'll face the storm, we'll never back away. Hope is stronger than the fear they make. One voice starts 1,000 wake. They'll hear us now. No king, no crown, no lie can keep us down. No fear, no shame, together we reclaim our name. When tomorrow calls, we'll answer strong. We've carried this weight for far too long. They'll hear us now, like thunder rolling in. No darkness lasts forever in the end. The fight begins where hope begins. Raise your voice, raise your eyes. Nothing changes if nobody tries. Side by side until somehow the whole world hears us now. They'll hear us now. They'll hear us now. They'll hear us now.
Hey, welcome in, guys. Welcome back, my beautiful Tater Nation. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. Tater Talk Thursdays, where the mics are hot, the takes are hot, the mics are on. Why do I keep doing that? Because the mics are hot, I guess. The potatoes are fully baked. This is the round table. This is the open panel. This is where bold ideas meet real conversations. No scripts, no safe little sound bites, no flakes. Just organically grown conversations served fresh. And you know us potatoes, we have lots and lots of eyes. We like watching all those interesting things that humans do up top. And there's usually some interesting things, isn't there? Tonight we're going to be digging into the big questions, the sharp disagreements, and maybe even a little bit of uncomfortable truth. But we do it with logic, respect, and a willingness to actually listen. Right? We listen. We don't just hear and wait to respond. Or actually listening to these conversations and building things, right? So pull up a chair, check your ego at the door, and let's dig in. Because this is Tater Talks Thursdays. And for inspiration, I remembered and had the time and all that good jazz. Stay grounded, please. But never stop reaching for the moon. And then you can fall amongst the stars, or however the saying goes, right? And if you... And of course, Bruce Lee, if you always put limits on everything that you do, it will spread into your work and into your life. So always reach for the moon. And of course, before we begin, this program This program contains open dialogue and unscripted commentary. The guest participants speak for themselves, and their opinions are solely their own. Do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or this channel. Conversations may include strong language, conversational perceptives, or emotionally charged positions. The purpose of this format is dialogue, not endorsement. We try not to clip farm, and we expect all participants to follow platform terms of service and community guidelines. Personal attacks, threats, or calls for harm will result in immediate removal. And of course, viewer discretion is advised with the strong possibility of strong language. And let's see, we had, who was it first? I think Vosh started out the chat. I can't remember who was first. It was way before I was able to get started, so I didn't have anything to be able to highlight those. But welcome in, guys. Appreciate the engagement. Appreciate the eagerness to get in and get the chat started. JB, good to see you if you're still around. I know that you were out to go do something. Homestead, always good to see you. More Celery, I hope you can catch this one tonight. Chaos, as always, good to see you. And Hardwire, like I said in the chat, it's been a bit, so I hope you're doing all right. Emmett, good to see you. Appreciate the engagement either way. It doesn't matter if you can't join. Good to see you in the chat. And it looks like we have a newcomer. We're offended, you're offended. The puns! That's right. That's right. We are very punny people around here. Or something like that. Beatrix, good to see you as always. It's really good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Always. You're always here. All right. And Real Tactical, thank you very much for the engagement, man. Good to see you. I know that you have a channel of your own. So anybody in the chat that likes God and guns, feel free to check his channel out. He has some interesting streams for sure. Thank you very much for the engagement, man. Good to see you. All right. So let's see. Is there anybody in... Okay, there's nobody in the Tater Talks room yet. As always, you are all welcome to join. Anybody is welcome to join the panel. We talk about just about anything on the panel and try to keep it not confrontational. It gets a little bit, but I try to keep it not to where it's screaming matches, right? We don't do blood sports debates. But the prompts for tonight, until we can get somebody in there, and then I'll start with a few just riffs. Is it worth having debates or conversations with bad faith actors? The people on their side are going to likely say they won and in turn get deeper entrenched. You may convert some fence sitters, but is it worth possibly turning up the temp between the left and the right to continue on with the debates? It's part of the reason why I'm trying these out. Gen Z is debated as being either the most disrespectful generation or the first generation to stand up for themselves against disrespect. Can we point to whether one is true over the other and possibly examples? The next will be, is it okay to still appreciate and value the good things done by people who have done objectively awful things later on in their life? And last but not least, should adolescents or teenagers be encouraged to carry a knife on them at all times, including to school? Why or why not? Are they carrying it for protection, preparedness, and does this even matter? Do cases like Karmello Anthony support this or directly oppose that idea? And of course, we don't have to hit all of those. We don't necessarily even have to talk about those if we don't get anybody in the panel. I also have other things that I need to do because as the people that follow me know, I will be taking some time off. And so I am willing to cut this short if need be. I also have error message on my internet, as always, right? But in the meantime, I do want to bring this to the front. If you have not seen it, we'll talk about it here real quick. Let's see, who else is in the chat? Jess White, thank you very much for being here. I know that your time The time zone is way different than ours, so thank you very much for being here. Yes, for the clip farming. That's right. Clip farm. No, we don't. We don't really clip farm. I do clips just because it's easier to take them in clips, but I don't necessarily try to rage bait with those clips. And I definitely don't try to cut context. I've mentioned this before. If you ever see a video that it doesn't seem like the context is there, please bring it to my attention. I will happily redact it or whatever I need to do to make sure that I'm not making somebody look bad. People do that well enough on their own, right? All right. So let's see. Thank you very much for being here. And again, anybody is welcome to join the panel if you'd like. The topics, we'll talk about those again if you didn't catch those. And in the meantime, I'll bring this to the front. If you didn't catch it, Fauci was put on trial. And we'll talk about it.
Citing what he called Senator Rand Paul's, quote, unhinged obsession with him, Dr. Anthony Fauci invoked his Fifth Amendment right and declined to testify before the Senate Homeland Security Committee today about the origins of COVID-19. Now,
plead the Fifth. Oh, my. Who? I say, who could have seen that coming? Yeah, we'll talk about it as we go, I guess. I'll just leave it at that. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Hey, Wi-Fi, good to see you, brother. Did you see what's going on in Spain? I did not. Do you have a link to any kind of video or anything like that? I'll try to see if I can cover it at some point in time if it's worth it. Kyle rode the dinosaur. Good to see you, Kyle. Interesting change of name yet again, as always. Birds aren't even real, as always. Good to see you, brother. Oh man, it's good to see all of you. As it might be the last stream before I come back from my days off. I hope not. I'm gonna try to stream. It may be just from my phone. I've seen other people do that, but I've never done it. So we'll see how that goes. I will be taking my laptop if I can stream from it. But it was a little laggy when I tried to do it last time with reacting to videos. It wasn't even streaming. So, hey, more celery. Good to see you. So good to see you guys. Hello, listener. Copy the link and add to the Discord. Hello, listener. Oh, is that we're offended? You're offended? Is that who I'm seeing? Or am I missing somebody in the chat? If I'm missing somebody, I want to know about it. If it's not, I want to know who. Right, I'm turning into an owl. Hey, Leia, good to see you. Static Age, as always, good to see you, brother. Just the Shepherdess, thank you very much for the engagement, guys. And since I'm thinking about it, just shout out to Don't Call It Art has a channel. I know I haven't seen him in the channel, or haven't seen him in the chat, but I always forget that guy has a channel he is trying to work on building. And I want to make sure that if he sees this or whatever, he knows that I'm trying to shout it out, because I would like a Homestead. If you drop his link, if he has one, if you know of it, I don't know. Anyway, long story short, thank you very much for the engagement, Jess. Good to see you. Good to see you. There you are, Trafalgar. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All right, so let's see. So this is a real quick clip, and then we'll cover
Brand of CBS News
longer.
is on Capitol Hill now with details of the showdown.
Nothing but the truth.
After taking an oath, Dr. Anthony Fauci refused to answer any questions at an explosive Senate hearing led by his longtime critic, Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky.
Can you explain to the committee why you chose to fund this dangerous research in China?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Senator Paul has repeatedly accused
He's such
Fauci,
a
the federal
joke.
government.
Such a joke. I'm sorry, but we'll get to it with who is it? I can't remember. Raleigh, maybe his last name is. But he points it out that this guy has had a pardon. I'm pretty sure you're not able to invoke your Fifth Amendment right when you've had a pardon. Hello, listener. You'd like to join the panel? Yeah, definitely join the panel if you'd like to. And Anybody is welcome. Anybody is welcome. Yes, thank you very much for that, Homestead. I was just about to ask, and then I just drew a blank because I'm a potato, and that's what I do, apparently. All right, looks like that's everybody shouted out in the chat. So we'll go back to this clown.
As top infectious disease expert during the COVID-19 pandemic of suppressing information about the origins of the coronavirus. Paul has pushed the theory COVID-19 came from a lab leak rather than emerging naturally from bats.
Your primary concern was
Isn't
hiding
that
the fact
what we always
that you
knew?
had approved the funding for this dangerous research.
Fauci said the reason he's not testifying is because he believes Paul wants to see him behind bars for his handling of the pandemic, which included recommendations to mask up and close schools.
Any reason
Yeah, I'm sorry, but masking up was never a good idea because I'm pretty sure I watched that dude say, don't mask up before he did say to mask up. And then all of a sudden it was 2 masks. I read study after study. Plus, I've been in the industry of trades and OSHA and all that good jazz. And unless it's a respirator, it's not going to do much good. And there's been study after study that says that masks do not stop the spread of any kind of virus. And cloth masks actually increase the spread. So what was that about? Now, we'll quickly go through this because it does look like we have somebody in the chat room waiting to join the panel. But I would like to cover this real fast. It's only 9 minutes long. But of course, as we all know, freedom of usage act. I've got to pause it and talk. So give me a bit. We'll get through this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is funny.
Well,
Not
nothing
gonna
says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc?
Nothing says honesty like taking
Let's
the
try
fifth.
something. What day of the week is it today?
on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
I've been muted the whole time. Dang it. Muted. Chaos. Thank you very much. Wi-Fi. Thank you very much, guys. You're muted. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. I have a bunch of background noise that I was trying to cut out. And anyway, he does this the whole freaking time. And like Senator, God, I can't even remember what his name is. But anyway, as this young senator says, I didn't think he was allowed to plead the Fifth after getting a pardon. And it doesn't look good. After receiving a pardon, if you're innocent, why don't you just say that this is what happened, this is what I did, this is why it happened the way it did. That's why you're pardoned.
Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned.
There we
as
go.
you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt.
Fair enough, Homestead. Maybe. We do have the dunce Tater, which, let's face it, I probably deserve a lot more than I'd like to admit. That is why I'm a potato. But maybe we'll look into that. Anyway.
Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you?
Yeah, more celery. Federal pardon. I believe that's all I don't know what all that is. I thought that was basically all that you needed to be pardoned. But Senator Moreno, it looks like his name is. Anyway, good guy. It looks like he's trying to fight the good fight, like Nick Freitas. So try to give him support whenever you can. At least try. I don't know. Chaos. I'm also a Dunn's potato. Fair. Maybe we'll get the silly potato because I am a silly potato, I guess. Anyway, we'll get on with this.
That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing.
Anybody that is watching this, let's take what she's saying and try it out. Oh man, I just can't believe that he goes. I mean, this whole thing, he just repeats it, which again, I understand, but it just makes you look worse and worse at this point after being pardoned. Besides the fact that, like the senator says, you shouldn't have the right to claim Fifth Amendment when you've been pardoned.
Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Folkers says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID? He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award. $900,000 cash award. And he got it because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service, you've got the Adelson Prize, you've got the Smithsonian Award, you've got the National Academy of Medicine's Award, you've got the CDC Foundation. In fact, you turned your staff into a full-time application machine. You actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate federal employees on federal time using federal resources to solicit cash awards. Isn't that true?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer.
Pharmacat, good to see you. We all know what he's saying. So.
Here they are right over my shoulder.
Good to see you.
Here's
I hope you're doing all right.
The people that you use.
Anyway, long story short, yeah, we do have one person in the panel room. I was just wanting to cover this real quick before it gets too much older. I mean, obviously, we all knew what it was going to do, but with that being the case, let me see here. Oh, of course, I found a video that was funny. I plead the fifth. If you have seen the Chappelle Show, you'll probably get this reference. If you haven't seen the Chappelle Show, this is from the Chappelle Show. The voice is Dave Chappelle. Hey JM, good to see you. I know that you were one of the other ones that was here, and you said, "Party on, Wayne, party on." I didn't watch it, so I can't remember the names. But yeah, it was so popular. I know what you're talking about. Cypher, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. And again, anybody is welcome to join the panel. But this is funny. Like I said, this is from the Chappelle Show. Somebody clipped it to be AI Fauci.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Anything you say, fifth. Go ahead, ask me a question.
Shit's so funny. All right. So, let me make sure that she's ready for me in there before we get over there. And Vosh, good to see you. Party on, Garth. That's it. Thank you very much, man. It's good to see you. Dave, good to see you. Thank you very much for that. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share if you would. And then turn your top chat to live chat so you can see the whole chat if you haven't yet. And it looks like we have a couple of people in the room. So let me see if they're ready for me. Hey, guys. All right, ready for me? Okay. Oh, there. Ready for me? All right. Let me unmute you before I go boomer again. And panel. There we go. Right on. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. And again, anybody is welcome to join the panel. The people on the panel, have you had a chance to read through the prompts? Yep. Bosh?
Yep.
Okay. And again, for anybody that's new, because we do have a couple of new people, looks like we have the first one. Is it worth it to have debates or conversations with bad faith actors, or is it just turning the heat up? Gen Z is debated as being the next one is Gen Z is debated being the most disrespectful, or the first ones to stand up for themselves. The next one is it okay to still appreciate and value someone for the good things that they've done even after they've done something terrible? And the last is, should adolescents and teenagers be encouraged to carry a knife on them at all times, including to school? Why or why not? And again, pointing out the Karmello Anthony case as something for reference. Let's see. Anybody else in the chat? No. All right. So do we have anywhere that we would like to start on the panel?
Nowhere in particular. I think I've got something for everything but the Gen Z topic.
Because you're Gen Z?
All right.
Just kidding. Fair enough.
Yeah, I wish I was that young.
I know, right? Okay, so Jay, do you have anywhere that you'd like to start?
Nope, not necessarily.
I think I'm just going to have them start doing a randomizer for every panel now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Make those choices real easy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a potato. Give me a break. All right, so we'll do we'll start with number 3. Is it okay to still appreciate and value the good things done by people who have done objectively awful things?
Yes, of course.
I mean, King David.
That's very fair. Yes.
Yeah, that is a pretty good point.
What extrapolate further, Boschman? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Cypher. Sounds like.
I mean, I think it's obvious. Like,
I have
somebody does some good things, somebody does some bad things. Like, it's a mix. I mean, maybe some of their bad things ultimately outweigh some of the good things, but they still did good things. I mean, probably the worst example, but also kind of the best, is the Red Flag Angle faction. They did a lot of terrible things objectively to people. Like, everyone thinks that they were evil, and they were. But what they did and the things that they wrote down and the studies that they conducted kind of led to how we see modern medicine. Like, yeah, Mengele was a terrible dude, but his research kind of revolutionized medicine.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we're not going to appreciate the good that came out of that, just because he did something horrendous, we wouldn't be living as great as we do.
Right. It's fair. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have done objectively bad things after doing some incredibly good things for science or something like that. We just may not have heard about it because it's not in mainstream. And, so like Jay said, King David, you want to go back to biblical. There's even a story in the Bible to affirm that you can be saved basically no matter how far along you get. Just stop, right? You can't continue on with the shit, right?
I think objectively I agree with Foshman. Like they've done some awful things, but we have medical advancements. We have, we're living better because of the good that they also did. I think the distinction comes from, or needs
Aries
to come
Van
from,
Dam,
that
good
a
to see
lot
you, man.
of
He's got his own channel too. He does similar content. Good to see you, man.
people aren't smart. There's not really another way to say that. People aren't smart. They don't really think things through. And so when they look at something that was done that was objectively good, and then they also look at the stuff that person that they did that was bad, they lump them together in this, oh, so I can do all of those things, or all of those things are okay because the good outweighed the bad, because they don't actually think it through. They don't separate that out. Maybe not everybody. I know the people in your Discord, obviously, have more than 2 brain cells, and we typically can come together and have some serious conversations and articulate our thoughts. But I think that the vast majority of people just kind of lump everything together, and they just, well, then they must be good. Or on the flip side, they also say,
busy.
well, they must be bad.
Work full time and do this on the side.
They did those bad things,
so busy,
and they can't see the good there.
Good to have you, man.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right too, because I mean, like you said, people by and large are not very smart. The majority of people are not very smart, and it's nothing against them, but it does take some discernment to separate the good that somebody does versus the bad that somebody does, and recognize both when they see them.
Right.
So while it seems obvious to us that we can still appreciate the good that they did, even though they did some terrible things, if the bad outweighs the good by a lot, most people are not going to accept that.
Right. Yeah. But like more celery in the chat says, I can think this way for everyone except PDF files and those who abused the elderly. I will never be able to think they are good or accept they did something good. So that is fair.
I mean, there is that. I mean, as far as PDF files go, if they did any good, I don't care. They did the ultimate bad, and they can go away forever.
Yep.
Right. There's definitely some moral standards that we hold people to that negate absolutely anything and everything that they could possibly do to make amends for themselves.
Right. But for instance, here in this crazy hypothetical, what if somebody cures cancer and then later it's discovered that they were a PDF file?
Aries, we've got some based women here.
They're awful, and
I also
should take
accept
care
all
of that,
views on my panels.
They also cured cancer.
Right.
It's like you still have to separate it, but it would be hard for me to ever say that they were good because they cured cancer. It's like, no, they cured cancer. Good for them, but they're still a PDF file.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome in, Leia. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you guys? Hope you're doing well.
Good.
Good.
You have anything to say on the topic at hand?
Well, I think most of the good points have been highlighted. I think that it's The only thing I would really, the only thing I would really add, I think, is gag nuance. Uh, I think that just completely divorcing someone from their actions, or their, at least in particular, their bad actions, is probably wise. But I think it's also, if nothing else, an exercise in like emotional intelligence and general intelligence, if you will, to at least be able to recognize that even terrible people are capable of great things, just like even great people are capable of terrible things, right? So I think if we just completely write somebody off wholesale and never dig any deeper, it kind of proves to both ourselves and others we're capable of nuance and deeper thinking. But to give that person credit or highlight it in a positive way, probably not great, right?
Right. Anybody else on that? Welcome in, Ice Pick. Good to see you. Do you know the prompt we're working with?
I do not, but that's all right.
That's all right. Okay.
Good to be back, bro.
Yeah, good to see you back. All right, let's see.
To kind of expand on what Leah was saying, I think another great example in the reverse is actually Abraham Lincoln. So he's lauded as this, the great emancipator, and is a hero to certain people, but he was also seen as a tyrant to others. So he's celebrated for liberating and ending slavery, but also he said if he could have ended the Civil War by sending everyone back to their homeland, he would. So
yikes!
How good was he? You
Fair.
know,
right?
So, more celery in the chat says, I couldn't trust that they did it from the goodness of their heart. I'd always, sorry, Ice Pick, what were you saying?
Oh, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay. Mute yourself then. Jesus. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I always watch for the green line to come up. So if I see the green line, I'll try to give you the floor if I can. Anyway, so, and you're kind of quiet. I turned you up all the way, but I'm not sure if you can maybe move your mic a little bit or anything like that. Anyway, she says, I'd always think they cured cancer to try to wash away what they did. That they did something awful. And that's kind of where I have a problem with, especially if they've done it after they get accused of something. If they did it before they got accused of something, that's different, but maybe not any better. But if they did it after they got accused of something, I would almost always assume that they were trying to do it to clear their name. I'm pretty sure there have been quite a few in history that have done that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of great things have been done in an attempt to redeem somebody.
Right.
Fortunately, we know better than that. There's only one thing that can redeem us.
Right.
Fair.
But on that note, so what if somebody does one of these horrendous acts that morally we feel like completely bankrupt any chance they have of redeeming themselves, but they do turn from their ways, they do seek that forgiveness, they do, find Christ, they do all of that. Something is that, like, individually as ourselves, is our with our human nature, is that something that we can get past and move on and forget about the awful thing they did?
I think in most cases, yeah, but in extreme cases, no, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think, in the most extreme case, the PDF files, like, yeah, I'm glad you're reformed, I'm glad you've changed, but you hurt a child, so you got to go.
Well, that's assuming you even believe that PDF files can change, which I personally don't. But I mean, change maybe, like, in their soul or whatever, offer it to God. That's between the two of them. That kind of goes to the question you were asking, Jay, and that is, can or should we forgive them? And in the most extreme cases, or can we? I would probably say a lot of us are even if we want to, maybe not quite that graceful. And I agree with Wash. I'm not even sure that that's a bad thing, because I do think there's a certain amount of
Good to see you back.
holding a grudge. But
Hardwire, good to see you.
having an elephant's memory, if you will, that we need to protect our society at large. And we know that they will meet the Creator one day and have to atone for their actions. And, that's, and if we can do all things and seek forgiveness through Christ, then, He is the ultimate good and the ultimate judge. So that's up to Him. However,
I am so glad I do not sit on that judgment seat.
Right.
right. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I
my
hear
place
you.
to judge. It's just my place to help arrange the meeting.
Amen.
All right. Anything on that, Ice, while we've got a minute? See if we can hear you any better at all. No?
I don't know.
No, not really. Kind of cutting up now.
No. No.
No! All right.
Nope, I heard that.
Yeah. Still, it was barely, but I heard it. All right. We can move on to the next prompt. All right. So, anybody have anywhere that they would like to go to?
Well, now that we have a few more voices, since Voshman didn't have anything for number 2, we could hit that one.
Fair. And then I saw, hello listener, you dropped into the Discord. I haven't seen you get a role yet, so you will need to go in and click on the multiple potato emoji in the rules channel in order to access any of the Discord if you would like to join the panel. And again, anybody is welcome to join the panel. I would love to have any views. Again, if you can push back against what we're talking about, that's beneficial. That was a little bit of a hot topic, so we can leave it as it is. But anyway, long story short, we accept all views here. So anybody is welcome to join the panel. You just have to join the Discord, go through the process to get into the Discord, which is accepting the role by clicking that multiple potato emoji, and you can join the conversation. Anybody is welcome. I don't have a limit on how many people can be on my panel, like a lot of StreamYard and things like that. Okay, so Gen Z is debated as being either the most disrespectful generation or the first generation to stand up for themselves against disrespect. Can we point to whether one is true over the other and the examples to follow? We'll start with, can we point to one or the other? Anybody?
This is kind of a hard one. I was going over this one in my head as well and thinking, I feel like Gen Z is the first generation that really had technology like in their everyday lives, right? Like they grew up with it, kind of aged along with them, like the internet, etc. So I feel like they have had a unique insight to say like places around the world that they never would have been able to travel to. They've been exposed to different things and therefore learned like cultural customs and things like that, and in that respect can have more awareness and quote unquote sensitivity. Don't know that that's always a good thing. Questionable. But at the same time, I think it also, there's everybody points out, for example, the work ethic, how different it is than the generations from before, previous generations, and the drive, what is the word? Ambition, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And I do think that there's a big difference in for probably a lot of different reasons. But if I had to pick one, I might say, if I had to pick one, I might even go most disrespectful, because it's hard to say they're the first generation to stand up for themselves. I could see why somebody might pose that, but I mean, come on, you have like the boomers and the after war babies. Oh, those are the baby boomers.
Right.
Was it Gen X? Drinking out of water hoses and raising themselves and their siblings, and they definitely stood up for themselves. So
Right.
I don't know.
It's fair. Anybody else?
I guess maybe it was my family or the friends that I had, my particular circle, but I actually didn't see the Gen Xers standing up for themselves at all. I saw for my generation and for, like I said, my circle of friends, we saw the previous generation and their what's the word I'm looking for? The way that they had to be involved in everything. They had to push their thoughts on everyone. They had, it was the kind of that generation of you should listen to me because I'm an elder and I know everything. And therefore I have to be part of every facet of your life and you should just do what I say.
Sure.
And my
Like
generation,
intrusive.
very intrusive. Thank you. My generation saw that, and we didn't necessarily like it, but we also didn't push back against it. We just, oh, okay, I'm not happy about this, but it is the way that the family runs, and we kind of just took it. But then the next generation has the Gen Z has taken that and said, no, we watched our parents struggle with this. And we watched how intrusive the grandparents are, and we don't want this in our lives. We don't have to do these things, and we're going to be bolder and stronger than our parents were. And I think the same as the previous generation was so intrusive, I think that they have also taken it a bit too far, and they have become disrespectful in some aspects. But at the same time, I don't fault them for that because they're tired. They want to live their lives. They want to raise their families. They want to do things a different way than what the baby boomers who were raising children and doing things in a completely different lifestyle, a completely different time period, were doing. Things changed. You know what I mean?
Right. Anybody else?
I can definitely see your point there, and I can't disagree. I think when I think about like standing up for themselves, although you have a great point about not standing up to say parents or elders, I was more thinking like associates, friends, coworkers, not family, basically.
Gotcha.
But that was a great point.
Fair. Aries Van Dam in the chat says, I take offense to this prompt. Gen X is the first generation to stand up for everything. And we did it in person, unlike these kids who can be rude in a text. Any
they are definitely keyboard warriors.
Whoa. Not everybody at once. Jeez. What was that, Jay?
I said they are definitely keyboard warriors. Yes.
Right. What was that, Leia?
Sorry about that. Definitely, I think that kind of goes back to my point about like the technology and how it can kind of be one of those things that's like helpful and harmful simultaneously, because it's like this blanket of anonymity over people, and it gives them, huge courage they would not normally have.
Yep. It's like the old saying from Mike Tyson, social media or the internet or whatever he says has made people way too comfortable with not getting punched in the mouth, right? Gotta always get that slur at the at the end. Ice, were you gonna say something?
Amen.
Punch him in the mouth. I mean, we just need to start getting back to understanding that you can get punched in the mouth.
I mean, come on, back in the day,
that's right.
You could just go back in the day and let's take it outside. Couple of hits, and everything's fine.
Exactly. Beatrix says, I mean, my kids are rude in real life. That's not something to brag about. Apprentice says, reality itself has been pushed to the point of breaking. At some point, someone has to say something, and it makes sense that it was the generation that was raised with anonymity online, because obviously they're not going to be pointed at and scalded Like, we are, because we didn't know any better. We put our name online, and then we knew something better, and I called myself the potato. Anyway. Anybody else on that?
But like I'll give an example of so my grandma was one of those intrusive characters. Love her to death. She was an amazing woman, but she was obstinate. And she had her opinions and her views, and she let everyone know what those opinions and views were. And I put up with it because it was grandma. I raised my children to respect her, to honor her, to listen to the wisdom that she has, to be there for her if she needed anything, and, you know, be respectful kids. Well, when they hit adulthood, or not quite adulthood, they were just older teenagers, we ended up actually spending quite a bit of time with her. We lived with her for a little while, but we lived next door to her for a while to help take care of her. And one of my sons spent a great deal of time with her. Unbeknownst to us, she was berating his father for every night when he would go up and spend time with her. And we didn't know about it for a while. And he took it because I had taught him it's family. Be respectful, ignore it later, but like just deal with it.
Fair.
As an adult, he opted to not have anything to do with that family because, you know, and it's seen and it's being pushed as, well, your son is super disrespectful. No, he's just chosen to not have those toxic things in his life. So you can view it as disrespectful.
Yes, Mama, boundaries.
I hate that word. Don't use that word. That's an awful word.
Boundaries or Mama?
That's so true.
Boundaries.
That's funny. Boundaries
Sorry.
or Mama? It's you. Fair enough.
No, that's a great example, Jay. I completely agree. I think that intrusive was indeed a good word for that, and pushy and overstepping is another one. I think a lot of the older generations had no tact, right? Like they really didn't give a darn how you felt about it, which in some cases is like hilarious, right? And we love them for it. But at other times,
and it's what we're doing now, but we're disrespectful.
Right. It's like, okay, like that's cute, you know, if you're, you know, if it's not a serious topic, but when you need to have a little sensitivity, not so much. And I think that that's something
that's fair.
Younger generations and Gen Z and forward are kind of trying to, you know, quote unquote, break these generational curses of,
sounds good, Chaos.
You know, mental illness, addiction, et cetera, that come from just stiflingly. I won't use the word toxic because it's such a buzzword, but some of those toxic environments. I mean, you had these parents that were never there, and you're raising your siblings, and your grandparents are way too involved in your life and giving you all the unsolicited advice. I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
Anybody else on that? So, as far as I'm concerned, and somebody said it in the chat too, kind of. And that's part of the reason why I've started my channel is I don't honestly believe that anybody knows what respect is. So they don't honestly know that they're disrespecting anybody.
That's fair too.
What was that, Ice? Go ahead.
Not anymore, I would say. I would say back in the day.
Well, sure.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
You mean back in the day of Pantera?
Pantera. Back when the Paleolithic era was around, you know?
Yeah, when carts and buggies are a thing.
Right.
Respect was everything.
Right.
So it's not a matter of we don't know what respect is. It's just not being construed to the people of this future generation.
Exactly, Apprentice. Yeah, that's fair. But that's the thing is, I don't know how many adults, right? So what would be Gen whatever, somebody in the chat apparently, or mod in the chat, take care of that if you would, please. Sorry. Respect goes hand in hand with empathy. JM says, if you have no empathy, you're not going to respect anything either. Exactly. And that's the thing, is you have to understand what respect is. Respect begets respect. If you respect yourself, you will understand what respect means, thus eventually able to feel how to respect others. If you don't respect yourself, you don't know what respect is, you're not going to respect others. It's just that simple, right? So that was what I was saying. So whoever the parents were of Gen Z, they don't understand what respect is and weren't able to teach the next generation how to respect. So when they think that they're just standing up for themselves, that's absolutely disrespectful. Sure, they're just standing up for themselves. And yes, we do need to stand up for ourselves. But we need to stop being so disrespectful to people with it. Now, I understand that there's some level of home policing, as we all understand here in my chat, that we don't want to home police per se. But there is a certain level of understanding where the person is coming from before you attack them on a level that they aren't ready for and you lose them entirely from the get. Let's see. Apprentice says, sometimes respect is calling people on their crap, and people can't handle that these days. So that can't be respectful. And that's another thing. Exactly. And then whoever took care of that, thank you very much for taking care of that, Mons. I appreciate you. As always, thank you very much for what you do, guys. A lot. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mod team. And the team in general, right? I've added to my team, and they're not mods, so I want to give them the shout out too. Don't Call It Art, thank you very much for the engagement. And since you are here, I did give you a shout out for your channel earlier. Now that I'm remembering it, I don't remember exactly if you have something other than your name. I know that you have a channel with Don't Call It Art, one that's I can't remember. Anyway, if you have a different channel, let me know so we can start dropping it into the chat, and I'll remember that more often. Cypher says, I love old people. As an old person myself, it's good. It's a good idea anyway. Fair enough. Werewolf, good to see you. All right. Anyway, back to the panel. Anybody else on that? No? I want to say that. Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I was gonna say real quick. I think that you have a really good point about respect. I feel like even people today and all the other generations basically kind of also misunderstand respect. I feel like respect gets equated with all these things like the tone policing, the wokeness, the victim Olympics. Like, you can't have respect for someone if you're in X level of woke or, in this class or that group. And it's just quite wild. When in reality, it's just, at least to me, respect means a very basic level of consideration for someone else, like as a human, as another image bearer of God, and to not harm or unnecessarily, think of the word, kind of interfere with someone, unnecessarily. Like, there's just no reason to make someone else's life more difficult.
Maliciously.
Golden rule, super simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Treat them maliciously.
And teaching it at home. Right. And I think the golden rule being taught at home and beginning at home is also the greatest way to teach respect. We teach our kids they respect themselves, their own bodies, their home, their bedroom, etc. And when we go to visit other people, they treat their house as well and their things, and they're careful, etc. because they understand, they want their things treated nicely. And you could easily explain that about people as well. Like, you don't want your feelings to be hurt. Don't hurt their feelings. Like, I feel like a lot of Gen Z didn't get those types of communications about respect at all.
Fair.
It's funny you should talk about the golden rule.
Thanks, Apprentice.
I was just having a conversation with my daughter.
Don't
about
overstrain yourself,
because
brother.
She was hitting people, as toddlers do. And so I tried to explain the golden rule to her, and I said, "You wouldn't want them to hit you, would you?" And anybody want to guess what she said?
Yeah.
If they did, I'd hit them back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the answer I was looking for. But no, she said, yes, I would. I would like that.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately, that's the thing is I tell people, so if anybody is not part of my Discord, you are very welcome to join my Tater Nation and be part of my community, because I'm going to tell you right now, you've never seen anything like it. But now I lost what I was going to say. What were we just talking about?
Man.
I know, right? I'm a potato.
Golden rule.
Golden rule, yeah. Who has the gold makes the rules, right? No? Oh shit, that's not it. I lost it. Anyway, must have been a lie, right? Sorry, I was sure I had something. Anyway, moving on. Anybody?
I think point, and to also to Apprentice's point in the chat, the way that people approach something, it may not come across as
Thanks,
respect,
Apprentice.
but it may still be respect. For example, if you have you're dealing with somebody who would rather be approached and addressed in a very direct and harsh manner because that's what they respond to, and you come at them in what, grandma would think in a disrespectful tone, it might actually be respectful to them.
Exactly. That
Does that make sense?
that made me.
That's a
you
good
reminded
point.
me. You reminded me. Yep. That's so. That was what I was saying. So in my Discord, I had in my rules, if your grandma wouldn't accept it, we don't want to hear. And I had people telling me that their grandma would be the one to instigate this. And so, yeah, I had to change my rules apparently. But anyway, long story short, we can't even depend upon our elders to hold to respect anymore, which is wild. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just remembered. Yay, I'm not a potato for a second. All right, go ahead.
Hey.
Anyway, sorry. Nobody?
That was it.
That's it. Okay, fair enough. Let's see.
I think that respect thing is honestly affecting more than just Gen Z. I think it's affecting everybody, and it's probably what's wrong with people's romantic relationships these days too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is nobody understands what respect is, and that's why I'm trying to do what I'm doing. Bring self-respect back, right? Bring back self-respect. Because if you don't respect yourself, you don't respect anybody else, and that's what it's come down to. Nobody respects themselves, because without God, you have no respect for yourself. Can I get an amen? No?
Amen.
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 Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. But no, seriously, though, we need to bring God back to the land. We need to bring unity back to the land. And above all else, we need to bring respect for everyone back. Don't Call It Art in the chat says, what you said about respect is so true. My boundaries weren't really respected as a kid. And so when other people had their own boundaries, I was very confused by that. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, guys, in the chat. They're giving the amen too. Thank you. Appreciate that. We need to bring God back. But anyway, anything else on that? We can move on to the next prompt. I thought there was somebody coming up for that prompt. I was waiting for them to get up here before I moved on.
Oh, I believe that's Tyler. We're offended.
Oh, that's possible.
Down in the vetting room.
What's taking so long? Vetting room? I'm just kidding. Usually they move through a little bit quicker.
It's happened to me. You get in there, you start talking to Homestead or Dave, and you're there for the next 3 hours.
That's fair, but you're supposed to be coming on the panel. You can talk to them anytime. So again, anybody can join the panel. Anybody can join my Discord. It is free, completely free of charge. I don't charge anything to be in my Discord. I do have a Patreon that you could potentially help to support me if you would like to go sign up for my Patreon. That is also free if you don't want to pay for it. And I do have content that I'm trying to put content on there that I don't have on my YouTube. A lot of it is content that I have on my YouTube, but I'm also trying to bring content that I do, like my day-to-day stuff too. But you have to pay for that. Welcome in, Tyler. Appreciate the engagement and being on the panel. Did you have anything on the prompt at hand?
Is it still the prompt about Gen Z, disrespectful, blah, blah, blah?
Yep, we were told you were coming, so I held on to that prompt for you.
Yeah, so my view is I think Gen Z is more willing to challenge authority rather than just accept by fiat. Okay. I think if we look at, like, there's a lot of, TikTok videos and all that other type of stuff that you see someone's like, what's the point of me working, I'm working 10, 12 hours a day, can't afford rent, can't afford this, can't afford that. They're more just like, what's the point? Rather than all of us, it's, you just work that extra couple hours and you'll get your couple extra shekels at the end of it. And they're going, what for? So what? So I can toil and be miserable like my parents and work until they finally, kick the bucket at maybe 65 and maybe they can't even afford, or you see how destitute they are. What's the point? I get it. It makes total sense.
Fair.
Well, if I may, and hey, Kylie, speaking about like being the first ones to stand up
Hey, Navy Bree, good to see you. Good to
are
see
we
you. Thank you for the
completely
engagement.
missing the boomers and Xers who like wanted to overthrow the whole system and punk rock and you can't trust anybody and that were the children of like Watergate and JFK? Like, are we completely forgetting those generations? Because I feel like they did not mind at all to challenge authority or question quote unquote mainstream narrative or whatever the prevalent story may be at the time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think maybe it is like I don't think you're totally wrong in the kind of like of the time, like the baby boomers were obviously of the the greatest generation, the people that came back from World War II and just started building everything. Like the whole economic boom really happened after World War II. And so those people, like the silent generation or the greatest generation, sorry, were building. They were creating things. And then the boomers came in, and I think they kind of maintained. They knew how to maintain the machinery, proverbially speaking. But then it was the generation after them, Gen X, that was, we don't even know how the system's built, and you're trying to reverse engineer something, and you literally don't have the blueprints or the schematics in order to create it. So are we kind of in that, is that history kind of rhyming with itself that we're seeing after 20 years of an Afghanistan war that the millennial grew up in, or even Gen Alpha grew up in, that they're going, what for? I'm going to go throw my life away so some fat cat politician can make a couple extra bucks? For what? Maybe.
Fair.
Well, that's a fair point. I think that there were different values back then as well, like more of a nuclear family generally and familial ties. And culturally, things were obviously a whole lot different. So I think that the what about me attitude, or like what would I do this for type of attitude, the meaningless feeling or directionless feeling was not quite as strong, because even if they felt kind of betrayed by politics or the culture, the people pulling the puppet strings, whoever it might be, they still had like their family, they still had to feed their family, they were going to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, by God, no matter what. And they did. And the whole country with them, and we don't see that in Gen Z, at least not often. I feel like we see it so little that when somebody does have a solid work ethic and attitude, it's, recognized and commended, because it's really not common at all anymore.
You think it's recognized today? You think hard work is genuinely recognized?
Well, yeah.
I agree with that. Don't call it art.
Value it, obviously. If you're talking about a Gen Z or to another Gen Z, or probably not, they probably look at them like, hey, dude, work smarter than her. What are you doing, bro? Bruh. But yeah, if it's an older generation or more conservative leaning person or Christian, yeah, definitely.
I think it is recognized. When you work hard and you apply yourself, I think it's recognized mostly because people don't do that anymore. So when they find someone that does, it is it's kind of a shock factor, and it is recognized by, if you're looking at employment specifically, it is recognized by the managers, by other employers, what's the word, trying to poach you from jobs and things like that. If you have an ethic, you show up to work, you're professional, you have good customer service skills, you carry yourself well, then you're more likely to be recognized for that and poached for that for other opportunities.
Fair.
But is that the general sentiment? Like the overwhelming rhetoric that's coming, say, from like the left in quotations, is Elon Musk is a evil monster because he has more artificial zeros in his bank account than I do. Or even look at someone like Bill Burr, who with that healthcare CEO that got unalived. He's like, yeah, this is what happens when rich people, you rich people abuse people, and like you deserve it. Like that's coming from like people that they're not.
Hey, MSM, good to see you, man. Good to
like
see
Bill
you.
Burr, or just in general, they're very well
Right,
off
werewolf.
people that are saying people with money are inherently bad, and the envy that comes from that.
Fair, Jimmy.
Look at like Jeff Bezos. Oh,
Hey,
he's an
Stu,
evil
good to
monster.
see
He's
you,
a
man.
dictator,
Good
and,
to see you.
He exploits everything else under the sun.
Good to see you.
But yet, all those people have an Amazon Prime account, or they have an X account, or they're using
Right.
Spotify or Shopify in some way, shape, or form. So it's like they're angry against the system that they themselves benefit from, completely unaware that they actually benefit from those same things.
Well, I think you put the exact word to it. It's envy.
Fair.
That and entitlement as well, I would say. I feel like in past
Welcome in, political
generations, we had
skank
more of
fest.
a
Shank. What the fuck?
encouragement,
Sorry.
like a motivation.
What the
when
fuck?
you saw somebody had something nicer than
Let me
you,
find the
different
prompt
than you,
for
and
you.
you wanted it, you thought to yourself, oh, well, they're working 60 hours, they get their job. I only work 70, maybe I'll get a nicer one. And not, well, I deserve that thing for no inherent reason other than, I don't know, I'm just great, so I deserve it. I see a whole lot of that entitled attitude in Gen Z and the earlier generations as well, or later, youngest.
Right, but yeah, I guess to kind of like keep it back on like with Gen Z, maybe it's just like the videos that I'm
so
seeing.
sorry, man.
They're
I'm so
just,
sorry.
what's the point? Like that is a very
There it is. I'm so
powerful
sorry, man.
question.
I'm so sorry.
When someone is saying, "Why
Thank you,
should I
Chaos.
contribute to a system when all I get is screwed?" They don't see the benefit
I know,
of
I'm
like
sorry,
a
I'm
social. Oh, be careful with my wording here. With a social interdependency or working in a community, they're just going, I'm the one getting screwed. So what's the point? And that is like, I'll finish there and you can respond to that.
No, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I
don't English well. Sorry.
So I will address it once again at a time.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's a good point. However, I don't think that it stems from the same place. I feel like we can ask like, what's the meaning of life, and go on like an explorative journey and reflect in all these positive things. But it's a little different to say like, what is the point here? And I think it's worth recognizing or mentioning perhaps that you say that they don't kind of see the point in being, it's not your words, I'm paraphrasing, kind of a cog in the machine. However, this entitled attitude that is prevalent amongst the Gen Zers, at least that I have personally seen, has kind of made them perfectly accept being, I don't want to use too harsh of language, being someone receiving the benefits of the system. Let's put it that way. So while they don't care too much to contribute, they certainly don't mind to benefit from said system. I think that's also a big difference within the generations.
I would agree with that, because my response to someone that says, well, why would I want to contribute? Why would I want to do anything? Because it gets me nothing. It doesn't benefit me at all. I get overlooked, or whatever the terminology is. Okay, my response is, then do something different. But if you expect to sit back and do nothing and reap the benefits, well, you have another thing coming.
Yeah.
If you don't want to contribute to the system, get off your ass and do something different.
But I don't think their question is, I want to sit at home and live in the pod and eat the bugs.
Not my relatives.
I think they're going, is this all life is? Wake up, go to a place that you hate, stuck in traffic that you hate, come home in that same traffic you hate, so that you can go look at your stuff and amass stuff, and then go to sleep tired, wake up tired, and just groundhog day it? Like that's life?
No, it's not life. So do something different.
But I think that's the question, the ultimate question that's being asked, and it's challenging that how the system has worked. Like I've talked about this before. The idea of like all our institutions, everything, it only works under fiat. It only works because we believe it. So, like government, justice system, any institution. Once you stop believing in the legitimacy of those systems or those institutions fundamentally will break down. They no longer hold the authority that we perceive they did. So I think Gen Z is willing to challenge those institutions' legitimacy.
I'm not sure that that's the case 100% because I'm not sure they would really be willing to be so uncomfortable as the consequences for those actions would bring. Like it's really nice to say you want to challenge the system, but to actually do it and suffer the fallout is, those are two separate things. And I also think it's worth noting where, past generations have also felt very similar to this. I think that it's interesting that older generations would say, like, what is this rat race? And become inventors or CEOs and, start something new for themselves, move, travel, all of those things where,
100%, Stu.
start a family,
100%.
find purpose elsewhere.
Thank you for the
Whereas
feedback there, buddy.
Gen Z seems to be the type to say, oh, I don't want to be in this rat race, so I just give up. I would just rather have things handed to me than have to work even harder, because that's just the reality in today's society. We have to work harder than ever to get just as much as we always have.
Right.
Yeah, to kind of back up our new friend here, I want to scale down and look at like the business side of it. So like employers are always looking to save money. They want to put more money in their pockets and increase their profits. They should be doing it to put back into the business, but it's usually going into their pockets or the investors' pockets. So while all these companies are making all of this money, whereas back in the day, you could be a cog in the machine and live a decent life, own your own home, own your own car, own your own things, and have a good life. Nowadays, we were kind of raised to say, if you are a good cog in the machine, you too can be at least comfortable. But now wages are down or stagnant while costs keep going up, and these businesses only give out raises when they have to. They don't look out for their employees. They look at the hardworking people and they say, oh, great, I'm getting my money's worth out of this one, and continue to not increase their wages. So where you could be a good cog in the past and get those promotions and climb the ladder, it's not as possible now. It's all nepotism. It's all who you know.
Right. Now I was thinking about this. You kind of brought up an interesting thing. Like in past, when you joined a company, especially like say like in the automotive industry, you got shares into the company, so you actually had an incentive for the company to do well. You had an absolute vested interest in, made you part owner in a sense. And so I think that was an interesting thing in order to actually have employees who actually cared. So, and I do agree that of nowadays, and I am a business owner, and I am kind of two minds of it. Like, well, of course, yeah, I very kind of like Ben Shapiro. It's like, well, I supply the machinery, I take all the financial risk. Shouldn't I have the benefit of it? But at the same time, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have other people that were, helping steer the ship, so to speak.
Right. So,
Exactly.
whereas you said, you were saying earlier, people think that having lots and lots of money is inherently a bad thing. Like it inherently makes you evil. I disagree. I don't think it's the possession of money, of resources. I think it's the pursuit of profit over everything else that is the problem here. These companies want to continue to make more and more profit without considering, are my employees being paid enough? Are my employees being taken care of? Are they comfortable in living a good life? It's all about their profits. So if the company is going to be all about their profits, why is the employee going to, frankly, give a shit about the company?
Real quick before,
Right, and
sorry, Tyler, before you jump in there.
Go ahead.
There was somebody that I heard kind of trying to come in. Maybe it was Ice. Were you trying to say something? I know
I was just agreeing with the employers don't care. No offense, because you see it every day. You see it every day. The employees are, I'm here 9 to 5, whatever, 8 to 5, whatever the hours are, and they're not seeing any up plus. Their rent's going up, the groceries are going up, but I'm giving you my all, but you're not giving me anything.
Right. Fair.
Well, I think
Yeah,
we
it's
should
supposed to
kind
be a
of
back and forth.
define, are we talking about, say, like big mega corporations, like multinationals, or is it the mom and pop, smaller places? Which one should we focus on?
Well, frankly, as somebody that's worked for small businesses and large corporations, the mom and pop shops have treated me the best as an employee. Like, I was a low voltage electrician for a small business in San Diego, California. And when I didn't have a place to live, my boss let me live in the office and didn't charge me a penny in rent and was still paying me a decent paycheck and letting me live there. But whereas when I worked at Walmart, yeah, I could buy shares into the company as
a very
an
fair
employee
point,
at a
Stu.
discount, but I was still making crappy wages. Those investments weren't growing. Like they still didn't care about me as an employee. So I really do think we need to get back into the smaller businesses and ditch these mega corporations.
And maybe
I
that's why
agree.
my viewpoint is a little bit different, because I've always worked for the small mom and pops. And so I look at it, and I've always been recognized and taken extremely well care of. Like my employers have always been phenomenal, but it's always been smaller companies. I have very rarely worked for somebody larger, and it was usually like in a call center environment. And of course, you expect to make pittance for wages in a call center environment. So I probably have a different perspective than people that have worked in the system, if you will.
It's fair.
And that's a different aspect of it. I mean, smaller mom and pops are always willing to give more to their employees because they understand that their employees are giving their business their business. I mean, if it wasn't for the small employees, they wouldn't have anything. Even if they did start off by themselves, but anytime anybody goes into a boss situation, they're always like, oh, I got employees, so that's their job, and they should be thankful. And yes, we are thankful, but also we need to be recognized. But when you go into a corporation, as I have found in my current position, they don't give a crap because you are replaceable. And that's the problem, I think.
And I think you guys are talking to the point that I was originally saying with regards to Gen Z. Like, you guys are saying the same thing that they are. what's the point? Topple the cart. This shit sucks. And I see it. This shit sucks. So
yes, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That's what I'm seeing, and it's totally justified. But also, well, you can't get anywhere unless you actually try. The problem is they're not trying. They
Well,
get to a
it's
point
not
of
just that they're not just trying. Some of them want to try, but there's now so much red tape around opening new businesses, around owning your own business, that it's impossible to do anything on a bigger scale than like a side hustle. Like, yeah, you can do a side hustle 3D printing stuff or selling t-shirts and doing this and that, but like making your own larger business with employees, it's almost impossible to do because of all of the regulations that have been put on owning a business.
yeah, no, you're totally right.
A lot of that has to do with where you are located. Unfortunately, it's still way too easy here, and that's where I'm getting a problem because I'm competing with a bunch of new people that are starting up a company out of the blue that have never worked for anybody else in their entire life. They're fresh out of high school and they list as much stuff as I do where I've been in the industry for 20 years, right? So it really depends upon the area, which I hope that they start getting more, a little bit more regulations. Where I don't agree with more government, something has to make sure that people are doing things proper.
Right.
Yeah,
and,
there's
and I
definitely
think
a
that's
balance.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler.
Like if we
Oh, you're breaking up. Can you hear me?
think about yeah, of course. I was going to say if I walk on someone balls.
Fair.
Oh, did that come through?
Kind of cutting out here and there, but I think we caught that one.
Okay, so I don't intentionally mean to walk on someone. If I do, just mute me or whatever.
You're okay.
I guess I have a bit of a delay then.
Yeah. Discord has a bit of a delay, and that's part of the reason why I try to just give the floor to people as I hear them or I see the green line. So anybody that gets cut off by me, don't take it personal. That's not my intention. And if somebody interrupts you, don't take it personally, because Discord does have that lag. Sometimes it doesn't seem to have it all the time. But real quick, while I have the floor, I don't ask for them very often, but we have a decent amount of viewership. If you like what you're hearing, if you like the idea of having open panel discussions where anybody can come and speak their piece and have deep conversations again, please think about donating to the channel. I don't expect anything, but if you would be so kind, I would much appreciate helping to build this network that I'm trying to build up. The mods, I'm sure, will drop the chat, the links in the chat now that I've alerted them. And if you would, if not, please like, subscribe, share, that kind of thing. And that's all that matters to me. We'll go ahead and go back to the panel. Was there anybody that wanted the floor first? Okay. Anybody that wanted the floor second?
I guess I'll go second. So
Okay.
I think that's when we were kind of looking at like the separation. So Tater, you had brought up like
I am no god.
I
am no god.
Oh, I'm forgetting
I only
the point that you were
serve the
initially
one.
making about in different fields. Right. Okay. I remember my point. Like if we think of, say, like human history, I did what my grandfather did. I did what my father did what his father did. I do what my father did, et cetera, et cetera. And you were there was that kind of tradition, and that tradition kind of just stayed. You know, and the name Smith was actually something. It meant something.
Right.
Like my name Tyler meant something. You know, it's literally tile layer.
Right.
You
right.
know, or so your name denoted what your profession was. And if we look at now, like shit, just think of like your parents. I'm sure all of us were told, got to go to college, got to go to university, get a degree.
I get it
blah,
now,
blah, blah.
Stu. Thank you for the
But
clarification,
I don't
buddy.
think they really made the connection that, like, you know, maybe they seen like their friend that went to college and looked like they have a nice house, a nice car, and everything seems, you know, beautiful on the outside. But I think they missed a crucial part, that people went to college because of their passion. Like, they were already in that field and they wanted to get better at
Thanks
it.
for being
so
here,
they
Stu.
got the
It's
degree
good to see you, buddy.
when a degree really meant something. And so now, like, say me in the transportation and logistics industry is totally different. I'm growing up, like, all right, whatever. I'm still growing up. You know what I mean? I grew up in a world where it was cell phones didn't exist. The internet was just becoming a thing. We're having a conversation thousands of miles apart and instantaneously. And it's changing ever faster, to the point where I can put a VR headset on and go and talk with my friends and play games as though we're sitting next to each other on the couch like we used to when we were kids.
Right.
And now think of the generations that are coming up where industry innovation is completely different. Like, in those 40 years, the world is different.
It's fair. But is it different in a better way is the question.
Well, that's a subjective thing. Like,
right.
I wonder if, like, you know, the ability of being able to find community, people that think like you, or hell, think differently than you.
Sure.
And actually being able to have those different types of conversations. And so I think with the younger generation, they're going, well, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I think that's a genuine question. What the hell am I going to do? If our world changed in 40 years, what's the next 40 going to be like? Like when my kids are my age, what is the world going to look like? We can't even conceive. Like, think of the potential things that are happening now, where you can create your own movie, create your own music, all of the technological innovation that's going on. And with that, where's that going to be in 20, 40 years?
Right.
So I think the guarantees that we had, like, say our parents had, that you work at a job for 45 years and you get the golden handshake at the end of the time.
Right.
That's gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, like, isn't this? I saw this video and it kind of blew my mind. You guys ever have house parties? Like, did you ever, like, go to house parties?
Oh yeah.
Hosted a few.
Nice.
Oh, did I?
Absolutely.
But isn't it?
That's funny.
Isn't it wild? I've seen videos of, like, young kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're responding to videos of, like, you went to parties in a house? What was that like?
Right.
Like, that's such a wild thing to think of. Yeah, they don't go to house parties.
I would say it was like
Have you
college.
Right?
Yeah, there's a black and white one somewhere.
Were you done, Ice Pick?
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, have you seen the ones about drinking out of the hose? They freak out over them.
Right? Like, it's unsanitary. It's like, I was just doing that this weekend because I was hotter than Satan's taint. Like,
And that's the least of your worries, really. Once you turn it on and do that first time where you don't realize the water's going to be hot for a while coming out and get your mouth scorched, that's always fun.
yeah, you forgot to reel the hose in, so now it's
So much fun.
you know, yeah, like, it's interesting seeing the, like, you know, on Saturdays, where did you go? Well, we just went to the mall and we were just mall rats. You know, you just hung out there. That's just what you did. You just went to the mall.
Right.
And just goofed off there.
Yeah.
Malls are dead. Like, who goes to a mall?
Dead. Yeah. I mean, just dead. And they're renting them out to the weirdest things now, especially. Let me see.
Yeah, like weird conventions and stuff. Like there's like conventions that take place in a mall. It's
Gotcha.
so like they have no concept of like just going outside and just being just idle. Like just going like this. Hey, you would just go to the mall on Saturday.
Right.
Figure out how the bus works so that you can get down there.
Right.
So like,
Ice, hold on for just a second. Are you trying to come in for a sec, Ice?
Well, with every mall is going to become a happy Halloween,
right?
Or whatever they call it.
Give me a sec. Sorry, I'll let you come in just a second. But Jay, she put in the side chat. She needs to get going so she can get on with her evening. And if you guys like to have the floor, like if you don't like just dipping out, like I like to give you the chance to shout anything out that you'd like to shout out or anything like that. So we'll give the floor to Jay for just a minute while she says her goodbyes.
Absolutely.
You didn't have to do that. I was totally just going to wait until in between topics. But
fair.
But yeah, just going to bug out a little bit early tonight.
No
It
worries.
was a pretty long day. So
no worries.
But anybody listening, you got to get on the Discord.
Yes,
it's worth it.
It is. Thank you very much for being here.
Jay,
as always,
thank you.
You're welcome back at any time. And God bless you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye, guys.
Yes.
And then
have a good night.
Have a good night.
And then again, anybody that wants to join my panels, join my Discord, feel free to. Like seriously, like I was saying, it is not like anything you'll ever run across in Discord from what I'm being told by many people that have Discords from before my nation. I'm new to Discord, so this is a whole new thing for me. So I didn't really expect it to be that much different, but what I'm hearing is it is. So please join the Discord and make it a different scene. But if you do join the Discord, please make sure that you go to the rules channel, read all the rules, all the rules, the world's worst words. That's why I haven't named that. But at the very bottom, the multiple potato emoji, you have to react to that in order to be able to access any of the Discord. In order to see the vetting room, in order to see anything, you have to do that. So if you join the Discord, please go through that rigmarole so that we can get you into the panel or whatever you'd like to do. And then on that note, I believe, Ice, you had the floor for just a second. We can continue on with our conversation. Or not.
I actually don't even remember.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm sorry. It had to happen, though. Anyway.
It did. Shout out to Jay.
Shout out to Jay.
Yes, amen. I hope you have a good night, girl. We were talking about malls. I think you were going to say something about the malls.
Yeah.
Oh, the malls. Yeah. The malls are dead. So, like, why can't we make them into something beneficial?
Right.
Like a community, if you will. Homeless center with I don't know, store in the middle, whatever.
Well, that's an odd one there. Don't call it art.
We can do so much better with all this empty space.
Oh, for sure.
That's
I
fair.
feel like
Homestead.
they might be trying that
I
somewhere.
understand.
I feel like I was just watching something about a guy who was taking an abandoned business that was going to be a factory and making it into like several hundred apartments. And
I'm not sure what you're asking for the link for.
in the center and a
Sorry.
restaurant, and everybody could live there and work there. I'll have to figure out where that is.
They totally are.
Oh, is that
It's
what it was?
just back to the whole government thing. They don't want us to succeed because if we succeed, then we're powerful. And that is the epitome of succeeding.
Yeah, I
Taking
can't disagree.
something- Right? Taking something dilapidated and making it into something for a community that they're neglecting.
Whenever there's a link that it asks for, I'll just expect that you guys have it because you do.
I don't know.
You guys
I
are
don't know.
awesome.
It grinds my
Yes,
gears.
I-
if you will.
That's fair. I have a bit of mixed feelings on the homeless population, but it's probably a discussion for a different time. We can make that a different prompt at some point. But I definitely feel like we should be doing more to help people generally with their multifaceted problems.
It's fair.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that's where my bleeding heart liberal thing comes out. I think we should. I think a society is defined by how it helps its most vulnerable. I think that is the defining characteristic. I understand like the difference between like someone who genuinely needs a hand up rather than someone that just needs a hand out. And I think that's for me where I would draw that line is.
But how do you tell? How do you tell the difference?
Right, and that's like a point I kind of struggle with.
Yeah. I've seen someone
he does have a point, ladies. I'm sorry, but
if they're wearing their underwear on the outside of their pants, then that's somebody who just wants to help up.
Yes, perhaps. I think it's, as someone who's myself been homeless and I continue to work with hundreds of the homeless population in my Tri-City area, I see it all. It runs the gambit from veterans who, in my personal opinion, should never be homeless or hungry. Apparently that's radical. I don't think so. To
you're awesome, ladies.
Addicts who would prefer to be homeless and spend their checks on drugs. And that's not, I mean, I'm in recovery. That's not just an insult. I mean, I've seen it hundreds of times. And they would rather either live in the streets or in hotels for a week out of the month and be able to use. And there are people who, whether it's because they just aren't ready yet, so they won't cooperate, or lack of resources like mental health help, etc. You're not just going to be able to, like, bam, just giving them a house or even a job or a car is not going to help them, right? So that is a problem that's a lot deeper than let's just give them stuff. I feel like we've seen that tried and it hasn't worked out very well. But sorry, I wasn't trying to go down more.
Nope.
No,
Amen.
that's a good point. It is a good point of like that is kind of one thing people that are outside of like dealing with the homeless problem is some of them, actually a lot of them, are okay with it. They're just kind of transient. They go to the shelter or the mission or whatever. They go get they go brush their teeth or go grab a shower, and they're happy. They actually enjoy it. They actually want to be. And so it's a weird, it's kind of like a bit of a weird dichotomy or a duality of humans. Like some of them, I don't want to be a part of the system. I just want to, be my little hobo self. Well, not hobo, but like transient. They just like it.
Right.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The first time I heard a sentiment like that, I was like, there's no way. Nobody enjoys. Like, what does that even mean? But then you see it when you work with these people.
I greatly enjoyed my time living in a van.
Yeah, they're away from society. They're away from the demands of what is being told to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about that. Not having demands on you placed by society or a job. You don't have to be up for work at this time and take care of the family or do this or do that. Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of
Well, as far as like transient goes, I mean, that implies you move around. When I was living in a van, I had a full-time job. I had friends I hung out with. I just preferred
1,000% political.
This is
not
mine.
even. You're just going to say the rest of it. You're just political.
I can take it wherever I want to go, and all of my stuff is always with me. So it was convenient.
Oh, the amount of scenery you must have saw.
Right.
The amount of what?
Scenery.
Scenery.
Oh.
Not the scenery you seen and more seen.
Yeah. A few good views, but most of them were in the van.
Oh, fair.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, but if you could, like, if you wanna, in the summertime, hey, you go further north. It's not as hot. And then come wintertime, you go along the coast because it's more temperate, it's more mild.
What can I say? Like, you take what you get, I guess.
They just do that. They don't. They just basically survive off donations or hitchhike wherever they gotta go, and that's it. And I think Leah, you had brought up an interesting point of like, have you guys ever seen it, like this, obviously I'm coming from a Canadian perspective, but there's videos online coming out of like new immigrants into Canada saying, hey, you know, you can just go to these places and they'll just give you food. So you don't actually have to buy groceries. Like they're working, but they're like, you just go to this place and they'll just give you stuff. They'll just give you food and then just throw away whatever you don't want, i.e. shelters, like food shelters. And so there's been such a strain on those systems that these food shelters can't keep up. So the people that actually need these things, who people donate to, can't keep up with people who are abusing the system. And I think the difference of a high trust society that Leah was referring to now it's a low trust society. Like the goodwill is being eroded, and then people become jaded, I think.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I agree.
I think that's why, you know, we're talking about like a government should take care of its people. Well, we first have to decide who its people are, and right now it doesn't seem like we understand who those people are. Like we're always bringing in new people from other places, and should we even be doing that?
Yeah, because our government says veterans, all the veterans, we're going to take care of them. What veterans are we taking care of?
Yeah,
we're taking care of immigrants right now. And I'm not against that. Don't get me wrong. I believe America is a free space. Okay. No.
If it's over our veterans, I am. Sorry.
I am too. No, I am too. I am too. We should be taking care of the people who took care of us first.
Amen.
Not
exactly right.
Who came in second.
Right.
Well, and I think like to kind of keep it with the initial. Nope, go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to another shout out for anybody that's joined the Discord that hasn't gone and selected the multiple potato emoji in the rules page. There should be only 2 pages that you can see, 2 channels that you can see in my Discord. If you're not seeing rules, exit back out of that and then go into the other page. Go to the very bottom and click on the multiple potato. I see a few people that have joined. JM, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but you haven't selected the role. And who was it that was just in the chat? Political, I think you were saying that you're in the Discord. So like I said, that is required to be able to get into the Discord. So just back out of whatever channel you're in. And again, if you can get to the welcome sprouts, we can walk you through it there too. Anyway, sorry guys. Moving forward.
Yeah, so to kind of pull it back onto the initial prompt, are you like, if we're bringing in new people, and I look at like the position that my kids are in, and I reflected to where I was during their time. Like, I worked at McDonald's from, I started when I was 16 years old and moved on. They can't even get in the door. And so they can't even get that initial job experience. They can't get the feeling of kind of being accountable to someone else because someone else came in, jumped the line and said, well, I'll do it for 30% cheaper or whatever the case may be. So this is why, like, when talking about how kids are saying, if this is all it is, screw it.
Fair.
So that's why I don't think they're disrespectful. They're seeing a ladder and the rungs have already been pulled up in front of them, and they're going, well, how am I supposed to even get my hand on it? I can't even get my hand on the first rung, let alone actually try and climb the thing.
Exactly.
They're seeing something we didn't.
What was that, Ice? What'd you say?
They're seeing something we didn't.
Fair.
They're seeing another dynamic of this system that we didn't have to deal with. We are dealing with it now, but we've dealt with it. So it's like, okay, just fucking deal with it. And they're coming
Beatrix,
in new.
are you not feeling good? I'm sorry to
So
hear
they're
that.
like, I don't know how to.
If you're still listening, I hope you feel better. Fair eyes.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think Gen Z or Gen Alpha, I don't think they're rude or disrespectful or lazy or whatever else. Like, wouldn't you kind of have that, not being incredulous, maybe that's the wrong word, but that kind of that disposition if you were in that exact same position? Like, I can't even get started. I want to, but I can't even get started. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, I get. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I think they can simultaneously be, standing up for themselves and not standing for disrespect towards themselves and being done with the system, but also still be the most disrespectful generation yet. Like, just because they're not putting up with this stuff in a job setting or in their general life, doesn't mean that they should be going around and defacing property or destroying things or like the knockout game in New York. Like, that's nothing but disrespect. And yeah, it's kind of Gen Z where that kind of stuff started. Like these block takeovers where they just do donuts in the center of an intersection. That's disrespectful as hell.
Oh, absolutely.
But is that a symptom? Is that a symptom, though?
Sure.
Is that a symptom of?
Yeah, I won't disagree. That probably is a symptom, but it's still disrespectful.
I would disagree that it's a symptom, more of a behavioral thing. They're looking for attention because they didn't get it. Whatever. I would say they're doing that to
That's
get
fair
attention.
point, Beatrix.
Because why else would you do it? There's absolutely no reason to do a burnout in the intersection other than I want attention.
Fair.
But I think we don't. I think you don't impress it, I think we're not addressing the issue. You're just looking at on its face. Okay, they're doing donuts in the intersection. Okay, obviously they just want attention. But is that the cause? Is that the actual root issue? Rather than
well, that's a lot deeper than I can get into because I don't know them, and I'm not a psychiatrist. So,
but
I would
is
say
it a symptom of a system that has where they're sticking the two-gun salute, saying that this all sucks. So is that a symptom of the culture that's been cultivated?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because I would say yes, it is a symptom of that because this is their only way of acting out, or, let's do a duel rather than let's talk it out.
There you go, birds aren't even real.
Because they don't know how to talk it out. Because they're upper generation, whatever. I don't know if it's our generation, who's ever generation. They don't know how to talk it out. If it's anything like my generation, we don't know how to talk it out. Let's take some blows and just we're good. I'm gonna buy you a fucking shot and we're good.
Oh, that's my favorite way to solve problems.
Welcome in, political.
Right?
I know that voice.
Hey, political.
I thought it was you, Tyler. I was like, I know that Canadian.
What's going on, brother?
It's so sad to know I would have to deal with you 2 days in a row.
Are you hungover from yesterday?
I was really dried out this morning. It was bad.
That's funny. So do you have anything to say on the current topic at hand, political?
Can we get that pulled back up? I was in the side room getting vetted out. I missed the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Sure, yeah, not a problem. We're still working on the same prompt as before, right, guys?
The Gen Z,
Gen Z,
Yeah.
boomers.
Okay. Yeah. So the whole prompt is, and you should be able to see them in the side chat. But Gen Z is debated as being either the most disrespectful generation or the first generation to stand up for themselves against disrespect. Can we point to either one is true over the other? And then we go into examples. And I think we're still on whether we can point to one or the other.
Well, I think that you have strong evidence for basically, I chatted in the chat earlier that they were just a mirror image of the boomers. If you think about the boomers were the most disrespectful generation, they're the ones that ripped down the system so much and just unilaterally decided to change it specifically for themselves. And then you have, the standing up against other generations. It's basically the same thing. They're the first ones to actually look at the boomers, look at Gen X, look at millennials and be like, this isn't working, obviously. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'm just going to ignore you because you're not saying anything of value. So it's like, it's both. Why do they, or are they mutually exclusive options?
I agree. It is both.
Political. I just was informed by one of my mods that you'd like the permission to stream.
Yeah, I was trying to find a good moment to ask about that, but it felt like...
yeah, you're good. You're good. And I appreciate the respect. As long as as long as you're not here to troll or anything like that, I don't have a problem with you sharing the stream out and getting people interested in what I have going on. So feel free to restream it. Just try to bring them over if you can, right? And with that being said, anybody in my chat, right? Political has his own channel. Do you have what is your channel so that we can put it in the chat? Actually, I guess one of my mods says they have it, so we'll throw it in the chat. Anybody in the chat, go over, give them a sub, and see if we can help another brother out. But anyway, I'll let you guys get back to the conversation at hand.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you being on the panel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I just found you on my YouTube recommended. I've been trying to reach out and do more things like this.
Nice. Yeah, heck yeah. I'm glad to have you for sure. Like I said in the stream, I'm all about all different views. So if you have anybody that you know they like to speak their points and things like that, bring them on over. But anyway, you can go ahead and go back to real quick. Sorry, Beatrix. If you're still watching, you have a good night. Thank you very much for the engagement, and we can go back to the conversation at hand now.
Yeah, so I think Shank brings up an interesting kind of thing of like, would you want respect from people who have?
Thank you, Dave.
Say in
Thank you for
your,
pointing that out.
like in a subjective view, like, wait, you guys screwed this whole thing up. Why would I want your admiration? Why would I want that from you? Like, say an outside group that you absolutely dispose of, or maybe not dispose of, but disregard in their teachings or their information. Well, I don't want your respect. This is the last thing I want.
It's literally the Rick and Morty meme. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, you get respect when you give respect. So.
No, you get respect when you do something worth respecting, and then you also demand the respect that you deserve. If you ask for too much respect, more than you deserve, you're not going to get any. And if you don't do anything worth respecting, you're not going to get any. And if you don't demand the respect you deserve, you won't get any. That's another problem a lot of parents have, especially, is they'll let their kids do anything. They deserve respect, they're the parents, but they'll just let them get away with anything. And that's actually on the parents of Gen Z, because they never made their kids respect them.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I
think
Dr. Spock.
That's prison. That's prison rules right there.
What is this world? Not a giant prison.
You know what? I'm finding that out. So you're right.
Fair.
Well, I think it's one thing to disrespect or, not care about the respect of boomers from a Gen Z, but to disrespect your community at large, to disrespect the public is another. So, yeah,
What do you mean by
the boomer? Well, we were discussing earlier about how Gen Z gets to doing these what do they call them? These intersection takeovers where they'll just do donuts and stuff in the middle of an intersection in the city. And I mean, that's completely disrespecting your community, completely disrespecting everyone traveling on the roads, even if it is in the middle of the night. Like, that's not being respectful of
What are you talking about, Dave?
society.
A different prompt?
It's like, yeah, you
I miss
might
something?
have some disdain for a particular part of that society, but to have such disrespect to do something like that to your entire community is too far. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I see what you mean there, yeah. I would like to ask for some more perspective on that, because we're obviously, teen takeovers are stupid. The whole street thing, it's just suicide, or suicidal, whatever it's called.
We are
Terms
on a
that are
prison
TOS
planet,
friendly.
unfortunately.
But then you go
worse and
back,
worse.
let's again go back to boomers, Gen X, all the other previous generations, egging houses, TPing houses, cherry bombs in toilets. Are we the only one, or is Gen Z the only ones to be disrespectful? I don't know if I count as Gen Z or millennial.
Fair. What,
Well, that wasn't the
that is a
prompt.
good point.
That wasn't exactly the prompt, though. The prompt was, are they the most, not like only.
Yeah, but that would,
You know what I mean?
it still harkens back to it. I can reword it, I guess, better to fit with the prompt, but I would say a cherry bomb is very disrespectful. So that would be competition against is Gen Z the most disrespectful, because there's so many that are
Gotcha, Dave.
also
With you now.
disrespectful. There's so many instances cross generationally.
Well, I think it goes back to the target of the disrespect in the instance of like egging somebody's house or TPing somebody's house or cherry bombing somebody's toilet. There
Lighting
was a
poop on
specific
fire.
target in mind.
Aggie.
That's a good one that I'm not sure how targeted the paper bag of dog poop caught on fire on somebody's front porch is, but the others, you usually did that to somebody when they'd done something to deserve it. Like that was a consequence of bad behavior or disrespect in the first place. It wasn't necessarily, it wasn't this, outwardly thrashing around at everything around you.
Yeah. I can't think off the top of my head of something that would be directly like that from the older generations, but I also don't pay attention much to the older generations.
Well, they were busy, right? A lot of them were working from like 10, so they didn't have a whole lot of time to, mess about.
How about boomers wearing bikinis instead of modest clothing? T-shirts instead of button-ups. How's that for disrespecting your community?
That's actually very true.
Yeah, I kind of am with you on that. As someone who wears T-shirts all the time,
See,
we should all be dressing up better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big thing. That's where I take issue with the whole prompt. Is like, if you look at the more you go back, it's like the Gen Z is not the one that started this at the very least. They're the end point of a long line of social degeneration, and so it's like, what's worse, teen takeovers or the one that started the avalanche?
Right. So if they're the peak, if they're the crescendo, does that mean that they are indeed the worst?
Yes, but are they the crescendo, or is the next generation already worse? Or are they?
Well, I really hope not.
For real though.
Well, do you guys remember
my
this?
kids are talking about?
Well, do you guys remember the stories? I wasn't around for it. I was but a twinkle in the old man's eye.
Right.
Like where you couldn't show Elvis below his hips because it was so sexy and provocative that the whole society would rip apart watching Elvis dance.
Yeah.
Like, is it I guess what's the severity? Like, was it seeing Elvis? Like, was that more of a social, like, cultural head snap, like your head being snapped back, or is it
Join the
all
Discord.
just kind of within its own perspective? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a point, I think it's within its own perspective, but I think Elvis is probably like close to the beginning of the degeneration. Like, yeah, as soon as we started sexualizing everything,
right,
then people started getting more lax. As soon as one thing becomes acceptable, then it's just, oh, well, if this is acceptable, then this is acceptable. And it just keeps piling itself on. And so now we've gone to Elvis gyrating his hips to teen takeovers.
Right.
And you have to remember, like, the boomers were the one, like, the rebellious teenage phase started with the boomers. That's their cultural addition to society.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it is like Gen Z.
Hey, Bulldog,
isn't the
good to
worst.
see ya.
Like, it was actually
Appreciate the engagement, buddy.
Because it like, they flicked the first domino. They bucked the trend of a tradition that went on for a millennia.
Yeah, we have an emoji for everything in the Discord.
Yeah,
Join the
they
Discord.
definitely kicked off the first domino.
I know you're in the Discord, hardwired. But anybody else?
I think it's something that builds upon itself. So yeah, they may have started it, but it started small. And now that it's started small, we're getting big until it's going to explode. Probably literally.
I think I'm still going to argue that boomers were the most disrespectful generation. Gen Z is not respectful by any means, but the worst, definitely boomers. Always blame the boomers.
Wait,
When in doubt, blame boomers.
gyrated?
No, he wasn't allowed to. Yeah, he wasn't allowed to.
The boomers invented
Remember,
gyration. Every time you see someone twerking in a parking lot or in a mall, that's the boomers. They invented that.
That's Elvis's fault.
Yeah.
Dang skeeters.
I can't wait to tell my grandmother that everything is Elvis's fault.
Yeah, no ads.
Johnny Cash.
That's funny.
Great movie.
Atheism really kicked off with the boomers too. So, if you really want, like, what's disrespectful, not going to church anymore, you can't blame Gen Z for not going to church. And they're actually going to church more than previous generations. The first time this has turned around in history since being recorded. So really, if you want disrespectful, that's disrespectful to God.
I don't know if we want to get into a theological discussion right
Yeah,
now.
that's super deep.
Yeah, we won't necessarily get into theology right now.
All right,
I think it is an
point,
interesting
though.
Sorry,
I think it's a good point because maybe what we're seeing then is Gen Z is just the most extreme in whatever it is that they choose to do. So the ones that are choosing to be disrespectful are being disrespectful in the most extreme ways. And the ones that are choosing tradition are choosing it in a very extreme way.
That also goes to...
Hey, Craig, good to
before
see
them.
you.
Go big or
I know you
go
were here
home.
earlier, but I don't know if you're coming back or I'm just seeing you again.
Classic.
What was the
Good to
other
see you,
half of the
buddy.
pop? Most
Hey, that's my
disrespectful,
Or standing up for themselves against disrespect.
which would be that if they do everything really hard, that would be something else that they would do pretty good.
Yeah.
Craig, are you a millennial? He's definitely a millennial.
Why'd you remove that apprentice after I freaking highlighted it?
Speaking of millennials, where's ODJ?
I know, right? That's what I was just thinking. He would be a good one.
Gen Z, that's what I mean.
He's probably
You ran him off.
right. He's probably at work. Good kid. Doing right by everybody and got a job and not just a little deadbeat. So I'm proud of that kid.
No kidding.
All right. Anything else on that topic? We've been on it for a little bit. We can move on to something else.
Yeah, I think a dead horse is a dead horse.
Yeah, right. And Apprentice did put it in the chat, and I'll point that out. He retracted it. I'm not sure why, but after I highlighted it, so it's on air anyway. But we can fight about who's worse. But there's only one who was good, so we're just arguing levels of depravity at this point in time, right? So,
damn. Okay, Apprentice.
Shots
You should have
fired!
been
Shots
part of this.
fired!
Should have been part of this, Apprentice.
Anyway, okay, so let's see. What else do we have? Does anybody need to take off before we move on? Giving the floor for anybody. Okay. Let's see. What other things do we have? So we talked about the second and the third one. So now we have 1 or 4. Does anybody have any suggestions or recommendations or? No. Okay.
You're
so
the host.
There's all that stuff in Spain.
What's that? Sorry. Political.
There's everything going on in Spain right now. You see the X clips, like something like 50,000 Moroccans invaded the southern tip of Spain.
Oh yeah, so somebody sent me a video of that. I haven't heard anything about it, so I'm gonna do a little bit of research on it, and then we'll probably talk about that next Thursday, and I might cover it on my Sunday stream too. But the 2 prompts that we have for tonight are either: is it worth having debates or conversations with bad faith actors? The people on their side are going to likely say they won, and in turn get deeper entrenched. You may convert some fence sitters, but is it worth possibly turning up the heat between the left and the right at this point? And the last one is: should adolescents / teenagers be encouraged to carry a knife on them at all times, including to school? Why or why not? And are they carrying it for protection or preparedness? And does that even matter? Do cases like Karmello Anthony support this or directly oppose this? So we can start with 1 or 4. Does anybody have any recommendations?
I say we go 1.
One?
Yeah, 1 is less
hostile. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, I want 4.
All right,
yeah,
let's
right.
go with 4.
That's funny. It looks like Apprentice is headed to bed. Good to have you, Apprentice. I know that you were not feeling good, so the fact that you were here is a great extent of you. So thank you very much for being here. And the mods, as always, appreciate what you guys do. Please take care of yourself tonight. And as always, appreciate you. All right, so both of these prompts are too large for YouTube. Yeah, this might get a little spicy. We'll start with number 1. Well, yeah, we want to be not too spicy. I don't want to get shadow banned if I haven't been already, and I definitely want to get monetized if possible. And speaking of which, please share the stream. If you know of anybody that wants to see a potato make fun of himself all the time, bring him in. So, is it worth to debate bad faith actors? What do we think?
Yeah. Can I get a clarification real quick? Is debating from a devil's advocate stance considered bad faith?
No.
All right, then.
I typically
don't have
debate
much
in
to
like
say here.
internal critique, so like that's normally my position is internal critique debate.
Yeah, imagine like on Piker or Destiny would say. That would be bad faith.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Just imagine
Obfuscation.
any leftist. Pick one.
Yeah, obfuscation, straw manning, refusing to answer questions, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, if you are playing the jester's advocate and you're giving it your all and you're doing everything that you can to be good faith in that position, no, I don't see that being bad faith, because just like shout out to Speakeasy and Verbal Combat on Friday nights. A lot of people have to play the devil's advocate because your Speakeasy is paid to put you into a one-on-one with somebody else. In order for that one-on-one to take place, you either need to take one side or the other, or else they just continuously try to read off prompts. So there are some times that the jester's advocate position is going to have to be taken by somebody that wouldn't necessarily take that. And that shouldn't be considered bad faith. What was that, Ice?
A third party, if you will.
Fair.
Honestly, I think Jester's Advocate's probably the most good faith thing you can do. Like, you're, for the sake of the debate, taking a position you would not normally take.
Right, which at that point in time, you would
practice their rhetoric.
essentially steel manning the other side's position. So in a debate, if you can successfully steel man your opponent's position, that is, as far as I'm concerned, the definition of good faith. Because you know your opponent's position, you're willing to accept and understand, not maybe accept, sorry, that was a bad choice of words, but you're able to understand, you're willing to understand it and break it down. Because again, if you can understand something, you're going to be able to break it down a lot easier.
Absolutely. I can't agree more.
Right.
If Rick, you're okay. If I could just real quick, I want to answer yes to this question, but perhaps not for the most obvious reason. I feel like built into the question, like saying you might be able to convert a few fence sitters, may not be generous enough to good debaters. Like, you're having a good faith debate with someone and say you're on the quote unquote right side, not as in left and right, as in correct,
Right.
According to Christians, whatever. And there are people in the audience that you can cause a little bit of cognitive dissonance in. Even if you don't immediately convert them to your way of thinking, you might plant that seed, which is what a lot of us talk about doing. Even if you can just start to plant a seed of doubt in their mind of their original stance, eventually it can become something. And I feel like if you're even halfway decent at debating, you likely do that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Craig. Good to hear.
Somewhat often, at least. And I think also if you're decent at using logic and reason and still manning the other side's position and being charitable and, not completely being nice enough to not make them shut down completely. I'm not saying you have to be nice. I'm saying you attract more bees with honey than vinegar, right? And if you can make your premise or your point attractive enough to make them consider, they themselves may even have a change of heart, whether it's to the issue or to have their mind open to hearing new ideas as well. So, yes.
Yeah, I think that there should be a distinction between, say, like public or private. So, like in like a private discussion, okay, if someone's just like completely, innocuous, I don't know. I'm sure we've all had conversations where it's like, this was kind of like a benign topic that we were talking about, but like you actually blew it so bad out of proportion and then accused me that I'm X, Y, and Z to the point that I don't even know if I want to be friends with you anymore. Like that is, I would say that would be different to say than in like more public, formal kind of setting where you're presenting a worldview and then the other side is presenting theirs. I think that's different than say someone that's I'm just here for the clicks. I'm actually not here to engage in the topic or argue a worldview or a position. I'm just here for the clicks. I think it is still worth engaging in because as Leia said, I think if you could pull some of those people, say, off that kind of middle ground, or even as the prompt was saying, like that kind of middle ground, people undecided, and then they can work more into actually, well, what else is this? Even though this person is operating in bad faith, perfect example, Rachel Wilson debating Brian Shapiro. You saw just how bad faith that anything that comes out of Brian Shapiro's mouth after that exchange, as bad faith as he was, it destroyed his credibility to anyone, even say someone like me that isn't Christian by any stretch of the imagination. Where I go, yeah, that dude's just a piece of garbage. He's just trash.
You can say that.
It reminds me of an old saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant, which, is true. But yeah, it not only does it engaging in those debates expose those people for who and what they are, but it also exposes the audience that clings to them. So you know now not to associate on any serious level, not only with the person that's debating in bad faith, but the people who take them seriously even afterward.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And then
I think
go ahead.
between-
Sorry. You're good.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Turning up the temp between the left and the right, just to riff off of what Chaos put into chat there, is probably one of the best things that you could do for it, because one of the biggest breakdowns currently in America is that the left and the right aren't talking, and they're not even arguing with each other. They're in these isolated rooms arguing with themselves about the other person. The way I like to put it every time I talk to someone that
It's
does
just
this
a
is,
shocking
you're not arguing with me,
personality.
you're arguing with the delusional fantasy that you wish I was. And it's like, if eventually, if you piss someone off enough, they will start yelling at you. And once they're actually yelling at you, they're actually talking to you. And then you can actually start to get somewhere. But until you actually break through this 30 different walls and barriers people have mentally to having their worldview challenged, you're not going to make any progress.
Right.
So it's either going to blow up by talking, or it's going to blow up some other way.
Yeah. And fire is a form of purification. Like, that's how you get pure metals, is by turning up the temperature. And right now we're a lot of disparate, different ideas and people, and if we need to be in this melting pot together, maybe we do need to turn up the temperature.
Well, and I think it's also a little bit generous, shall we say, to claim that any one person alone, and I made this argument back when everybody was like, oh, Trump needs to turn down the temperature, to say that any one person alone can completely affect the political temperature in our sphere is just a little bit wild to me. They could definitely contribute, and some contribute more than others. Most definitely, Trump being a great example. But I feel like if there's not a meeting of the minds, or a meeting of disagreement, if you will, like if there's nobody there to counter and meet hostility with hostility, if that's the case, or meet open-mindedness with open-mindedness, then the temperature is going to stay the same no matter what that person puts out, right? It's got to be a collective. I don't think just one person can really move the needle that much without help, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's one person on top of another person on top of another person. And if everybody's turning up the temperature, then eventually it's going to get hot enough to melt.
For sure. And I don't disagree. I just personally would not think to myself,
And that's
like, before
exactly the problem,
conversation or
Craig.
debate with someone, like, should I not debate this topic because I am going to turn up the political temperature? Like, that wouldn't be a thought that I have about myself, or
No.
most other people. You know, I get collected.
Eventually somebody's going to be the last one to turn up the temperature before things do melt down.
I hope it's me.
But so it's like Craig in the chat. It's like Craig in the chat says, sometimes people start talking when they start yelling, but sometimes that's when people stop talking, right? Charlie Kirk, who's a good example of how we can get back to talking to one another again. We need to start to understand where the other person is coming from again. What hurt in their background has caused them to think that way? And I'm not talking about who hurt you, bro. I'm talking about true, honest to God hurt in people's background. We need to start reaching some unification again.
I think that's too charitable. Not everyone's gotten hurt. We have a plague of mediocre lives upon us, and people weren't hurt. They're just, like, pathetic.
Can you guarantee that?
I won't guarantee it, but I will say the vast majority of
that's
Americans
all.
have had some horror
Then
bestowed upon
conversation done. Give respect, and you earn respect. We need to start giving respect again. I understand we have to be the one to reach out our hand, and that's going to suck. It's going to fucking suck. I get it. I do. But if we can't guarantee that they have not had a hard life, we have to accept when they say that they have, and then learn about them. And if they haven't had a hard life, then you put them in their place.
I completely disagree. I think these people have made their bed. They're grown adults. Like, it's one thing if it's like a 14-year-old or a 16-year-old. I'll even give you like a 20-year-old still doesn't really know anything in 2026. But these are grown adults we're dealing with. I say they made their bed. They can lie in it. And, you know, if I'm reaching out a hand and I think they deserve it, that hand's going to be closed with a couple knuckles attached.
So how are we ever supposed to turn this temperature down if everybody were to feel that way, though?
Exactly.
I never said I wanted to turn the temperature down. I was firmly on the I want to be the one that blows it up side of it.
Okay. So you're like an accelerationist.
Yeah. I have a 4-year-old. He's going to be draftable in 13 years. I need this solved by then, and I don't see a way of solving that without some type of gasoline.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely
will
don't.
have to disagree.
Yeah, I'm not an accelerationist on this channel. You're okay in your position. I'm not definitely saying don't leave or anything. I'm just definitely don't want to turn any more heat up than we absolutely have to, because there is going to be a line that we got to be careful of.
No, I completely get that. I understand where you're coming from in that regard. It's just I did the math a couple of years ago when my son was born. I was like, we have to fix so many things in so little of a time. It's going to take some serious measures, and I've seen the way people have been debating this for like the last 5-10 years now, and it's like, this is not working. We have to do something else. But I get where you're coming from. It's certainly not a safe position to take.
Right. Well,
I actually kind of had a similar experience. Like I had my kids 3 years ago, and had a similar change of heart. Like, oh my goodness, this society that I've been living in and participating in is awful. However, I didn't take the mathematical equation to that direction. It was more, if I'm going to live in a better society for my children to grow up in a better society, I have to be part of a better society. So I myself have to do better. I do agree that some extreme things need to be done. Absolutely agree with you there, but not to the point where I would say an acceleration to destruction is the goal.
I guess I should specify it's not necessarily an acceleration to destruction. It's this lukewarm Republican right-wing take that everyone's been trying to do. I don't think that's working. We need something different.
Hey, sunshine and coffee. Good to see ya.
A more conservative position that we did in the past, where we used extreme shaming tactics, where we ostracized people, where we really made people ashamed to be something that we would consider bad, and really kicked them out. That would be accelerationism, and it would be quite radical compared to what we're doing today. But that would go along.
Now
you already see that happen. Where we shame a lot more people than we did 10 years ago.
Right.
See, I think the right is too weak and ineffective to actually do anything. I think conservatives are a bunch of cowards. They will not wield the sword. They won't actually use power. So they're always playing second fiddle. The best example that I can't remember who brought it up. A friend of mine.
I think it was me last week.
It might have been. I don't know. But so if it was, I don't know. So here's the analogy. So of course, like I said, I'm talking more from a Canadian kind of perspective. So in Canada, everything's just your default lib. That's just how Canada is. And with the Liberal government and in our parliament, prefer your guys' White House. The Liberals will punch holes in the wall. They'll redecorate. They'll get the new furniture and everything else. And, that's just how it is. But when the conservatives get in power, when they leave, they make sure that the chairs are tucked in, the papers are neatly stacked, that all the pens are in the pen holder and accounted for. So that's the view that I see is different. The Liberals are willing to change and use that power and actually exert that power, while the right is always going, but what if my opponent gets back in charge and they could use those same powers against me? I don't hear that coming from the left at all. They're like, we need to go further. Look at what's happening in the United States. What are you hearing from like prominent Democrats? When we get back in, we need to pack the courts. We need to get rid of the filibuster. We need to fix gerrymandering. They're like, we're going gloves off. We're making sure that this power is being exercised rather than the right that's going, maybe we shouldn't. That's the difference I see.
Yeah, that was literally our conversation. I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
Was it? Good.
The same analogy.
Good point. It's good enough that it's stuck in my head. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing to bring up that's important is the left is completely fine with accelerating. They're fine with raising the temperature. They're fine with imprisoning J6ers for years without trial for someone that showed up 2 hours after the entire riot just because they showed up and took some photos. They opened the doors for him and then they threw him in jail for 20 years, or tried to at least. They went after Trump. They went after Trump's lawyers, unheard of. They went after Trump without convicting him of an underlying crime. Like, they are perfectly willing to set aside everything to win at all costs. And so really your options are you either have to fight them the same way, get on their level, and force them to concede or come back to the table somehow, because this lukewarm, I have to be respectful, I have to be the moral person, I have to be the better man, I can't actually do anything. I call them republic cucks, really, is what they are. They refuse to get out of their chair and do anything. It's not working. This has been the slow decline of the last 60 years.
Like, I remember a quote from Bosch where he's like, for those that don't know, Bosch he's quite the vocal socialist, if he hasn't gone full-blown communist as of yet. But he says that I'm here to win for socialism. I'm not here to lose. So I will lie, I will cheat, I will do whatever it takes in order for socialism to win. That's what the right is contending with. That idea. The ends justify the means. I know this is kind of off topic of like the debate, good faith, bad faith debate.
Well, I think that actually brings you right back into the topic, because it's clear that one political party refuses to operate in good faith. I guess I can't make a generality out of that, but there's a clear bias on that. Which side will and which side won't. And so your only option is to either engage someone that's being bad faith or to not engage them at all.
Yeah, and there's one thing I've noticed with, even not necessarily within like political spheres, but even in like public discourse, the right is always willing to engage with the left. The left doesn't engage with the right. So if we look at it this way, the left is the one that's always pushing, the progress. Whatever that progress is, okay? It could be nebulous, nothing, they're always pushing towards something. The right is always responding to that. They are never giving a refutation or an alternative vision. They're just saying, we don't like this. Why has Andrew Wilson become so effective? Why did he suddenly blow up out of nowhere, so to speak? Because he actually showed a alternative. Now, I disagree with his alternative, but he's not saying, look at what the left is doing. He's one of the very few that is saying, I have a vision, rather than look at what stupid vision the left has without giving an alternative. And so in that aspect, he's actually been very effective in giving that, engaging with that bad faith, in showing that. So I think it is still good to engage with bad faith people.
Completely agree. Did anyone say that they shouldn't? I think we all agree that we should.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Is there anybody that disagrees with that we shouldn't be engaging the opposite side? Okay. With that being said, I do probably need to wrap up. I have some things I need to get taken care of before I end my evening. But I will give you guys a chance to wrap anything up that you would like to wrap up before we give our shout outs and end the stream. Is there Anybody that would want the floor for the topic at hand? Okay. With that being said, we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. So what I'll normally do is I have the upper right in my screen. So that would be political, and then Leah, and then Ice, and then we'll drop down to Vosh and Tyler in that order. Give out shout out for whatever you want to shout out, your channel, somebody that you like watching, that you'd like to give credit to, anything like that. You have the floor for a minute. Political.
Thank you for having me on. I just found you guys, so I know you're not Shadow Man yet because you just popped up on my For You feed.
Fair.
So that's something good to hear.
That is.
Thank you for having me. You can find me at Political Shankfest at YouTube and on X. Right now I'm talking a lot on X about the Spain stuff because that's just going crazy. Europe is a disaster.
It is.
And then thanks for Tyler. He's always a great guy to talk to out there on We're Offended, You're Offended, and Speakeasy, The Crucible. I've just joined the debate sphere, so it's been really great watching all these channels and joining in where I can. If anyone's interested, I am doing a carbon fiber hood project on my car. I'm trying to make videos for it. I got a terabyte of footage I have to comb through. I swear it's going to be posted eventually. I keep telling everyone that, but
I know the feeling.
Actually edit the footage.
I know the feeling.
Yep.
Right on.
That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and you're always welcome back, man. And again, in the chat, go check him out after the stream. Give him some love, and we'll see what kind of network we can build. And again, you're always welcome back. You have yourself a God bless night, man.
Good argument points, political.
Yeah, it was a good
Thank
conversation.
you. I try and give my opinion as much as I can without stepping on too many toes. I'll talk forever if you let me.
Your opinion is always should be always.
Yeah, thanks for the shout out, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right.
My opinions are always correct, is what you were trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Opinions can always have a place for sure. All right. So, anybody else want to thank him or anything like that before I cut you off? All right, Leah, go ahead and shout your stuff out. Whatever you'd like to shout out.
Oh, I won't shout out too much. Whoever's in chat should probably know that I have a channel I'll eventually return to at some point to do content. Just make sure that you please are subscribed with a bell on for Tater and share them with a friend if you've enjoyed your time here. And if you're not already in the Discord, I highly suggest you join because it is, as Tater pointed out earlier, one of the most unique and special places on all of Discord. And you will find something and someone, if only one thing in them, that you will absolutely adore. So come join us.
Thank you very much for that.
And thank you.
Was there anything else?
Nope. Good night and God bless.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. As always, you're welcome back. And for anybody that watches this later on, I know that the whole chat knows that she has her channel, but anybody that may want to check her out that have watched this, she does have her own channel, Leah Bobia, on YouTube. So, anything else before I move on?
Wait, that was Leah?
Yep.
Sneaky little goblin.
I said hi.
I know, right? I know, right?
Yeah, my apologies.
She's always lurking.
Yeah.
That's
We offended Tyler.
Anyway.
Oh, I feel like a dick. Just stonewalled you. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You're fine. All right, so we'll move on to Ice. Is there anything you'd like to shout out real quick?
I would like to shout out Potato Nation or Potato's Eye or whatever. Come fucking watch. It's great. It's a good fun. I am been watching a few YouTube channels. It's just my niche. I don't know if it's anybody else's niche. It's off-road, but Matt's Off-Road Recovery and Fab Rats on YouTube. They're great.
Right
I mean, they help people out, and it's fun to watch. But mostly,
right on. Yeah, I've seen the off-road or the recovery. That one's pretty good. Right on. Appreciate the shout-outs. And as always, you're always welcome back. And you have yourself a God bless night, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And then Vosh, you go ahead to have the floor.
Everybody like and subscribe. Share the video, join the Discord. Most importantly, join the Discord. We all have a blast in there, and there is something for everybody, and we have great conversations and a bunch of great people that actually care about each other, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So
seems to be a rare thing these days. So I appreciate my Discord. I appreciate you shouting that out. Was there anything else you want to shout out?
I mean, if you want to see anything I'm doing, I'll probably be doing a live stream of The Secret Life of Plants here soon.
Okay.
That's a fun documentary about plants. Go figure.
Right on.
But yeah, so if anybody wants to check that out, I'm Voshmit everywhere.
Heck yeah. I appreciate the shout outs and being here. As always, you're always welcome back, and you have a God bless night, man. And that brings us to Tyler. We're offended. You have the floor, sir.
All right. Well, of course, thank you very much for allowing me up here to speak. And yeah, I guess I am the co-host with my wife. We run a show talking Canada, U.S. politics, culture, and whatever else is going on in the world. Yeah, that's really it. Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to the next one. Oh, I guess I should say Saturday is our last episode before we go on hiatus for all August. So we'll be updating a bunch of new stuff, and Original Vintage will be joining us before we disappear for some relaxation, and but I won't keep that going. But thank you very much. Yeah, I subscribed, so I'm looking forward to more interesting discussions. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the deep conversations that we've had tonight, guys. Was there anybody else that wanted to sec on the panel before I drop? Because I'm not going to lurk. Okay.
Thank you again, Tater, for having such an amazing space.
And God bless. Seriously, though, I appreciate everybody that jumps on my panels, everybody that's in the chat. You guys are the one that makes the nation, right? I have the vision, and I will continue on with my crusade, if you will. But you guys are the ones who make it possible. So thank you again for being here. Thank you again, all of you in the chat. And it looks like Unapologetic Preacher just hit. Thank you very much for the engagement, Unapologetic Preacher. He does have his own channel, Reverend Russ. Definitely check that out as well. So yeah, seriously, guys, thank you very much for being here. Ice, you're unmuted. Did you want to say anything before I drop?
No, just thank you. You made this all possible. So yes, I appreciate the thanks, but if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't happen.
Fair. And I appreciate that a great deal. I just try to stay humble for sure. But you guys are welcome to stay in the channel. You can also drop down for the newbies. You won't be able to drop down to any other than the vetting room. But if you'd like to drop into the vetting room, other people might join you and visit with you if you'd like. Otherwise, I'm going to drop out, and you guys have yourself a wonderful evening. All right, guys, and that brings us to the end of our stream. Thank you, everybody. An apologetic preacher dropping in to the show. The Tater some love. God bless, brother. God bless you too, man. Seriously, guys, I appreciate everybody so much. This was big. This was a good panel. We had a couple of new subscribers. Thank you for all of you that subscribed. Seriously, I love you guys. With that being said, please take care of yourselves out there. Inside of the United States, always remember those Second Amendment rights within the United States. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police getting to your home. For those outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. And as always, take care of yourselves, your neighbors. Watch out for each other. You don't know what each other are going through. Try to be kind, right? Where we talked about having some leeway for some people, not everybody though, right? I don't want it to ever come across that I'm just going to start using kid gloves for everybody. But we have to understand where some people are coming from. But anyway, I'll get out of your hair. And hopefully I'll be streaming on Sunday, and we'll see how that goes. If not, I do have videos coming up Tuesday through Thursday. Please go watch those, share those out. Let's see if we can get some traction. And again, thank you. God Christ is God, the King of Kings, and always will be. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were here with me, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And for now, the potato, signing off. Getting out of your hair and being a boomer while he does it, right?
Raise the sails, beat the drums. Raise the sails, beat the drum. Build these towers with our backs bent low. Watch the kingdoms rise while our wages froze. Gold in the skyline, rust in our homes. They feast in the palace while we break our bones. They don't see faces, they just count names. Columns on a ledger in a numbers game. Different flags, different faiths, different shades of skin. Still we're all disposable when profit steps in. No crown can stop the tide. No wall can chain the sea. The waves remember every lie and every broken dream. Hey, pull the rope, let the thunder roll. Raise your voice till it shakes their throne. We are the storm they ignore too long. Now the whole damn ocean sings our song. Hey, beat the drum, let the anchors break. Every soul that they left away. No more fear, no more bowing down. When the tide comes in, we'll drown the crowd. Private jets over neighborhoods starving. Boardroom smiles while the factories harden. Sell another promise, package another lie. Tell us to be grateful while the future dies. They divide us left and right, black and white. Keep us looking sideways, never up to fight. Neighbors become enemies, the masters just grin. Every war below keeps the palace in. You can own the gold, you can own the land, but you'll never own the spirit of the damned. When enough hearts beat as one, no empire stands forever. Hey, pull the rope, let the thunder roar. We're the ones they can't ignore. Every voice like a crashing wave. Born unbroken, never made a slave. Hey, raise the mast, let the heavens know. Truth's a fire they can't control. No matter the color, the creed, the name, the powerful play the same old game. So stand together, shoulder to shoulder. Storm after storm, growing bolder. The sea keeps rising, the tide won't wait. History belongs to the ones who won.